Hello, Good Shepherd and Saints Francis and John. I'm Deacon Mike Lynch with Good Shepherd Church. This week we prepare with the gospel message for the 31st Sunday in Ordinary Time. A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have taken their seat on the chair of Moses. Therefore, do and observe all things whatsoever they tell you, but do not follow their example. For they preach, but they do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to carry, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they will not lift a finger to move them. All their works are performed to be seen. They widen their phylacteries and lengthen their tassels. They love places of honor at banquets, seats of honor in synagogues, greetings in marketplaces, and the salutation, Rabbi. As for you, do not be called Rabbi, for you have but one teacher, and you are all brothers. Call no one on earth your father. You have but one Father in heaven. Do not be called master. You have but one master, the Christ. The greatest among you must be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." The lesson of this gospel story should be pretty obvious. Humility. Adopting an attitude of service toward others and avoiding self-centered outlooks is the Christian perspective, and the perspective that Jesus, of course, seeks among his followers. Jesus points out the perspective of the religious leaders of his day as the example for his followers not to imitate. Their habits of making spectacles of themselves and expecting to be shown public respect is creating heavy expectations of the Jewish people, yet failing to practice what they preach. These hardly reflect the teaching and the very example of Jesus himself, who came to serve and not be served. In fact, listening carefully to the first reading at Mass this weekend, it's from the Old Testament book of Malachi, and it's a similar critique and warning given to the temple priests of that prophet's day. A focus on the self and on materialism is an easy attitude to adopt in today's me-first culture, a culture of things that we are told we must have to be our best selves. But those cultural attitudes blind us to the reality of who we truly are, especially before God. All of us have been created in the image of God and with the Spirit of God breathed into us. None of us can take credit for our own creation or for our identity as children of God. And no matter what our status in our culture or the amount of earthly things we have or don't have, we owe our full devotion, our homage, and our very selves to God. In this gospel story, Jesus offers a subtle but important caution to us, his followers. Be very careful of expecting to be called by names and titles of honor, and of what they can do to how we think of ourselves, when all honor is owed to God alone. We should ask ourselves, do my words and do my actions reflect Jesus and draw others to him, not to me? Here's some family activities to consider in light of this gospel. With your family, talk about different leaders in your lives, teachers, clergy, your boss at work, political powers. What have they taught you that was good, true, and honest? Have they ever taught you something that is contrary to Catholic faith? As students, as parents, or leaders ourselves, are we careful to teach what is good and true and beautiful? When we live as Jesus did, we find joy when his grace transforms another's life. God bless you, and see you at Mass.